get started. So again, glad to have you all here today. Happy 2025. This is my first webinar. Well, it's not my first. My first webinar was yesterday, but it's my first webinar specifically with NAWDP today. I'm just starting 2025 off on a great foot. So I'm glad to have you all here. What I wanted to do today was really to give you all an overview of some of the learning opportunities that we have coming up with NAWDP for 2025. So my name is Kim Meadows. I am the Director of Training here at NAWDP. I've been in this position now almost 3 years, going on 3 years in June. So been here. I absolutely love this position. I love the workforce development field, the industry. I know that the work that we do is important. I always try to stress that anytime I have the opportunity to speak in front of any workforce development professional. Sometimes we just have to hear that reminder sometimes, right? That the work we do is very important. And that's why I take my role as director of training at NAWDP. I take it very passionately because I understand the unique challenges and opportunities that we have in workforce development. So prior to this work role, I worked at a local workforce board for the previous 15 years. And so I'm now here at NAWDP. And just to say a little bit about what our mission and vision and values are of NAWDP, I'm not sure how many of you are members of NAWDP. If you are, you can you can raise your hand or type, yes, I'm a member in the chat box. You can do hashtag NAWDP, just however you want to represent your membership, just so we know that we have some NAWDP members on the call. But really our mission with NAWDP is really threefold, is to connect, advance, and innovate. So connect professionals, connect workforce development professionals, connect businesses, connect local elected officials, federal officials. We want to connect everybody within that workforce development ecosystem. Really advance the profession and then innovate. So those are the three pillars that we stand on. You see, our mission is to enrich the workforce development community by connecting and advancing workforce professionals through building innovative partnerships. And we really want to be an advocate for workforce development professionals. So one of the things that come along with advocacy is really to make sure that we're staying on top of all of the trends, all of the new things that are going on in workforce development. So one of the ways that NAWDP has done that traditionally is we really want to talk to our membership. We want to ask our members and non-members and just people within workforce development, what are some of your learning goals? So as training director, I don't want to pretend like I know what the answers are. I want to ask you, what are the things that you are looking to learn this year? So we sent out a survey, and we did this at the end of 2023. So it was December of 2023. And we asked people what were their learning goals for 2024. Now, we didn't do a closed ended question. So, in other words, I didn't give like a list of topics and tell you to pick your top three. We left it open ended. So, you could pick anything that you wanted to learn for 2024. And so these were our top 10 learning goals that we focused on in 2024. So you see, the number one learning goal was a lot of people wanted to learn how to use AI. So we hear about AI all the time, but how can we really use that in our role in workforce development? So that's one of the things we focused on in 2024. And we did a lot around LMI, around mental health, uh, as far as our conferences and different learning tracks at our conferences. So that's kind of our focus on in 2024. So in 2025, as we're moving forward, we're still using the same list. Even though it's only about a year old now, we're still using the same list because we want to make sure that we're hitting all these topics and we're hitting them hard and heavy, right? So this year, I'm not going to say our main focus because we will focus on other topics, but some things you'll hear me talk about today when we're thinking about our 2025 learning opportunities at NAWDP is leadership, career coaching, and management. So those are the three that we're going to talk about today that is really focusing on our learning for 2025. Okay, so I know I've said a lot in 5 minutes, and I like to maximize our time, but I just want to just take a minute, just a reflection moment. And I know we're here now, only 14 days into 2025. Not sure if you all do this, but this is something I happen to do, and I try to incorporate this in some of my trainings. But at the beginning, I'm sorry, of every year, I try to come up with a word, and that is my word that I really focus on for the year. So whether it's in the trainings I do, or if it's just in my personal or professional life, I come up with just one word. And I'm not saying I don't use other words, but it's one word that is prevalent for me in 2025. So, not sure if anybody else has a word, but if you do have a word, I would love to hear what your word is for 2025. Okay, so I see faith. I see thrive. Marlo said thrive. Jody Toner. Marlo said thrive in 25. Marlo, thrive was actually mine last year. That was my word last year in 2024, but I should have waited until 2025 because it would have rhymed. So, all right. Achieve. Okay. So fortify, flourish, intentional. Brittany, we thinking alike. Growth, accountability, gratitude, elevate. Hi, Alexis. Excel. So these are all wonderful words. So I just want to share with you what my word is, and then we'll move forward in our time together today. So I think Brittany said this. So Brittany, like I said, we are on the same wavelength because my word for this year is intentional. And so I want to kind of just start our conversation today with just having you thinking about being intentional. So when we think intentional, what does that mean? So that is really making conscious choices about how you spend your time and energy and taking deliberate actions to achieve your goals. So making conscious choices about how you spend your time and energy and taking deliberate actions to achieve your goals. So I want to really frame that being intentional around your learning for 2025 because if you're like me or how I had been in the past is sometimes I wouldn't necessarily be intentional about my learning. I would just kind of see and wait and see what's out there, and whatever happens to come up, or maybe if it came through my email, I'd say, you know what, this may be something I want to do, and then I would go through the effort of applying or getting into that training. But when you're intentional, I want you to think about what your personal learning goal is and what your professional learning goal is. And then you can seek those trainings out, right? So don't wait until those trainings come to you, or maybe it flashes across your email one day. Seek those trainings out. So again, with NAWDP, I'm going to give you some learning opportunities that we have within our organization. But there are a lot of other resources. Workforce GPS has an amazing amount. I think the last look was over 10,000 different resources, different webinars, different written toolkits that you have. So if there is a learning gap that you have that you really want to be intentional about learning this year, I would encourage you to make it a priority now. We're at the beginning of the year. Of course, you can do it throughout the year, but beginning of the year. So think about what your learning goals are and where you can go to find what you want to achieve with your learning. Right. So with our time together today, what we'll talk about some of NAUDLP's digital learning opportunities that we have coming up. I'm going to also tell you about some of NAUDLP's in-person events. We have 3 in-person events that this year, so we're super excited about that. We'll talk about the Certified Workforce Development Professional Credential, the CWDP. And I would love to also hear if anybody, and I know we have several people on who's CWDP just because I know you personally, but if you're CWDP, you can put that in the chat box too, that yes, I'm a CWDP, Certified Workforce Development Professional. We would love to recognize you. And then also, I'm just going to give you some ways to stay connected. All right, so I see that we have a couple of CWDPs. We have Jan, Hiley, Ann, and Natalie. So yeah, we have a lot of CWDPs representing. Awesome. Hi, Denise, CWDP. If you're not a CWDP, I'm going to give you information on that at the end as well, and I'm definitely going to serve as a resource. If you want more information about earning that credential, along with my colleague Alexis Franks. So the first things I'll talk to you about is the digital learning opportunities that we have through NAWDP. Again, we're going back to being intentional and really being focused on learning. I feel like one of the first things I love to say is when you're doing a webinar or digital learning opportunity, I always like to use the term lean in, right? Because sometimes it is so easy to multitask. It's easy to have your phone and have your laptop and have another screen. Now we have, two or three screens on our desk. And it's really easy to kind of get distracted when you are doing online learning. So I always like to encourage when you are doing online learning to really lean in, give the training your full attention, participate. So it can be just as beneficial, if not more beneficial, on an online training. But you also have to be willing to participate. Go ahead and participate. Ask questions, take notes, review the content if needed. For all of the webinars that we do with NAWDP, we send all of the recordings, including this one. We'll send the recordings to you so you can review it afterward. We also have a NAWDP YouTube page where all of our free learning opportunities are archived there from the past 2.5 years, maybe 3 years now. If there is something that you missed, if you got distracted and you missed something from your online learning, make sure you review the content. Also, treat it as it's a like it's an in-person training as well, and follow up with your presenter. So don't feel like once you leave the session that it's over and you don't contact the presenter again. Most times, I know all the time with NAWDP, all of our presenters leave their contact information. So if you have a follow-up question, send those follow-up questions to your presenter. Expand your network. So that's one of the things I love to do when we first come into any kinds of training is to just introduce yourself in the chat box. There may be somebody who is in an area near you or an organization near you, and you just happen to see their name or information pop up, or maybe somebody you're connected with on LinkedIn. This is also a great opportunity to expand your network. And then at the end of all your online training opportunities, I always encourage people to develop follow up action steps. So don't let this just be 30 minutes or an hour of you listening to me speak or the presenter speak, but also that you're developing an action plan as well. Okay. So I'll talk to you a little bit about our 30 minutes of excellent session. I do see there's a question in the chat box. So let me just, so Kristen asked, are there any scholarship or funding opportunities to enroll in CWDP? Your organization has put a Okay. So, Kristen, feel free. I'll put my contact information in the chat box. And if you could just email me and we can correspond via email. We don't have any scholarship opportunities, but we can just talk about some other things that may benefit your organization. Okay. All right. So our 2025 digital learning. So every month on the fourth Wednesday of every month at 1 o'clock Central, we do what we call 30 minutes of excellence. And our 30 minutes of excellence sessions, they are facilitated just by different workforce subject matter experts, different people in the field, and it's on a variety of workforce topics. All of these trainings are free. And you can register for those on our website on the NAWDP website under digital learning. So just to give you an example of some that are coming up in January, and it'll be the fourth Wednesday of January, so it'll be next Wednesday. We will have a session on the role of workforce development professionals in today's economy. So I'm excited about that presentation because it's really going to talk to us as workforce development professionals about how we are an integral part of our economy. And so I'm super excited about that one. In February, we have coming up, Joy Jamerson is going to be talking about partnering with HBCUs or historically black colleges and universities. In March, we'll have somebody from the National Governors Association who's going to be talking about skills based hiring. In April, we have somebody coming from Verizon who will be talking about a free skills platform that they offer through Verizon. And then in May, we'll have somebody coming in talking about jobs for American grads. Or the JAG program. So again, you see that these are all different topics under workforce development, and just a variety of presenters from throughout all different organization types. So if you're interested in our digital learning, you can go to NAWDP's website and just click on digital learning. Those are free for members and for non-members. In addition, we have a NAWDP YouTube channel. You can just go to YouTube, type in NAWDP, and you will be able to see all of NAWDP's 30 minutes of excellence for the past, I think it's archived now for about 3 years. So you can go through if you see a training or a webinar that interests you, just click on it and it is available to you at no charge. All right. We also are doing a virtual academy that focuses on career coaching. So each year we do a virtual academy. Last year it focused on fiscal management. And this year is going to focus on career coaching. So this is going to be again virtual. It's going to be 3 days and it's going to be 8 hours. So the first 2 days will be 3 hours each day, and the last day will be 2 hours of instruction. And then we'll do a 30-minute kind of networking session where you can network with other career coaches from throughout the country. So, we love to do that. We put people in breakout rooms and we give you different topics to talk about in breakout rooms because we have found that peer-to-peer learning is invaluable. So that was my job in my previous role. I was a career advisor for 15 years. And so this is really near and dear to my heart because I know how important it is to make sure that you're getting the latest techniques and the best skills to better serve your customers. So this with the registration is open now. It'll be open until February 20th. And the cost for this one is $375 if you are a member and $475 if you are a non-member. So again, you can go onto our website and you can get all the information about our career coaching virtual academy. So if we have any career coaches on the call, you can definitely put in the chat, I am a career coach, hashtag, exclamation mark or whatever you want to put after that to show your excitement about being a career coach. I absolutely love that part of my career. All right. So another event that we do, one thing that we try to do with NAWDP is to get people connected, but not just get connected. We don't want you to just join NAWDP. We want you to get connected and we want you to stay connected. And so one of the ways that we do that is through what we call Network with NAWDP. And this is a members only, it's an exclusive networking event. And so this is for our members, and it's really a peer-to-peer learning opportunity. So we did our first network with NAWDP event back in August, and it was a great success. And really, what we do is we just have people come in and we go into breakout rooms. So we have a series of, 4 to 6 questions. So we give you a question, you go into your breakout room and you discuss the question. So the question may be something like, what is one of your most innovative outreach techniques, right? Outreach seems to be one of the topics that always comes back that people need training on because it always evolves. So that may just be an example. So you go in your breakout room and you talk with your group for 10 minutes about some innovative outreach techniques that you may be doing at your organization. Then we come back and we share it as a group. So our network with NAWDP event is really a peer-to-peer networking, peer-to-peer learning because you learn so much from your peers and the promising practices that are happening in the field. So we will have a variety of workforce topics to discuss on our network with NAWDP event. We're excited about that. So that is an event that we have coming up in February. So again, that is for NAWDP members, and it is free. Okay, one of the other things that we did last year was we surveyed managers and hiring supervisors on what are some of the skills that new professionals need that NAWDP can help when it comes to professional development. So, what are some of the skills that are needed? And we got about a 50% response of supervisors are saying that we still need help. Just like we hear this a lot of times in the field when we're working with businesses, we need help with those soft skills. So, we took that data and we decided that we were going to do a NAWDP day of learning. And for this particular day, we're going to do essential soft skills for workforce development professionals. So this is going to be a 3-hour training. So we'll have 4 different topics. And each topic we'll do a 30-minute session and then we'll do a 15-minute critical question. So the critical question, again, we'll ask the question and you'll go in the breakout room and discuss it with your peers because again, we found that peer-to-peer work learning works just as well as the presentation. So, our 4 topics for our essential skills for workforce development professionals are going to be empathy and emotional intelligence, critical thinking and decision making skills, relationship building and conflict resolution, and time management. So, if you could all agree with me, even though I can't see your faces, I can see a couple of your faces, but I can't see most of your faces. If you agree with me, you can just raise your hand. But these are skills that, regardless of what you do in workforce development, that you need these skills. So whether you're working with businesses, whether you're working with opportunity youth, whether you're working with dislocated workers, these are skills that we need as workforce development professionals. And I always love to say as well, um, learning these skills is kind of like learning your ABCs, right? We didn't learn our ABCs. They told us our ABCs one time and then we just knew it and we knew it forever. We learned our ABCs because of repetition, because we continued to hear and we heard it over and over again. And so I think sometimes soft skills are the same way. So even though we may hear time management and we hear all these great techniques about how to manage your time, after a while, we kind of go back to what our norm maybe had been or our routine had been. And so sometimes we just need to hear those things again to kind of perk us back up. So this is where our essential soft skills for workforce development professionals is coming in. I'll be facilitating this along with my colleague, Alexis Frank. So we are excited about this one. This again is a 3-hour training session and it is going to be in March. And it'll be $50 for members, and then it'll be 75 for non-members. Okay. Each year we do a summer learning series. Our summer learning series goes from June until September, and it meets monthly. And we do 90-minute sessions. Last year, this is where our AI topics came in. So we did 4 months of learning AI, using AI, and how to make AI and virtual reality better for you within your organization. This year, our summer learning series is going to be on management and supervising employees. So, what we found is that we do a lot of work with people who are coming into the field. So, if you're new into workforce development, we have a lot for people who are new into workforce development. And then we're actually doing a leadership academy for those, leaders and executive directors. So we really want with our summer learning series to hone in on that middle management. So the supervisors, who's supervising the career coaches or who's supervising those business services team? How do you make your teams work more cohesively? So what are your onboarding practices? So those are some of the topics that we're going to hit over our summer learning series. Again, those are monthly from June until September. They're 90-minute sessions. So you'll see more about that in the coming months on our NAWDP website. So again, as we're thinking about being intentional, if you are a manager or if you have somebody on your team who's a manager who you think could benefit, feel free to share this information with them. And like I said, the specific topics for each month will be upcoming. So we are super excited to have our first cohort of our NAWDP Leadership Academy. This has been an initiative that has been in the works for several years, and we are excited to launch our first cohort. I know we have at least one of our cohort participants on here. I recognize the name, maybe more, but I know we have at least one. Um, and so our NAWDP Leadership Academy is really focusing on developing leadership skills in 3 areas. So self-understanding and awareness, building positive and effective relationships, and then taking all those thoughts and all these visions that we have and turning it into action. So this is a 1-year cohort. There will be 2 in-person sessions during our annual conference. and then the other 4 sessions will be virtual. This will be facilitated by the University of Georgia by their Fanning Institute for Leadership Development. So our participants in this cohort will receive a certificate from the University of Georgia as well as a certification from NAWDP. So we have already selected our cohort for our first year. We have 25 people in that cohort, and then we take registrations or applications for our next year's cohort during the month of October. So if this is something you're interested in, we still have information on our website, and you can look on our website, and we will have registration open during the month of October. Okay. So I like to use this phrase whenever we're talking about conferences, and I couldn't agree with this more, that one great connection can lead to new job opportunities, partnerships, and content creation. One new idea, if it's done right, can change the way you approach all your work. Conferences and networking matter, and I am a big believer in this. I don't know if you've ever been to a NAWDP conference before, but it is I want to use the word magical. It may be another word, but I happen to think it's magical. But when you have nearly 2,000 people in workforce development, and we in workforce development, we are passionate about our work. So can you imagine having 2,000 people all in the same place, all with that same level of passion? It just makes a great networking opportunity. And NAWDP happens to have 3 conferences this year. Our first annual conference is going to be in Virginia Beach, and it's going to be May 5th through the 7th. Registration is actually open for that now, and we're also taking workshop proposals. So if you have a promising practice that you want to share with your workforce colleagues, we are currently taking workshop proposals for our annual conference. If you work on a business services team or a part of a business services team or business services rep, or your primary role is working with businesses, we have an academy that is specific to you. This will be in August of 2025. It's a 3-day academy as well. More information will be coming about that on our NAWDP website. And then also, if you work with that youth population between ages in 16 and 24, or young adult population, we have a conference specifically for you. It's our NAWDP Youth Symposium, and that will be happening in November of 2025. So those are our upcoming conferences. And then I just wanted to close us out. I know we're getting here at our time, but I do want to close us out by mentioning the CWDP, the Certified Workforce Development Professional Credential. I saw several people mention that they were a CWDP. And when we get to this point, we really like to talk about the fact that credentialing matters, because a lot of what we do in workforce development is we encourage our customers to get trained in their field, to get those certifications, right? And so that's really what the CWDP does. It professionalizes what we do in workforce development. It gives us our core competencies. These are things, our core competencies are what we do in this industry. And regardless of what organization you're in or what level you're in workforce development, the CWDP will apply to you. And some of the benefits of earning the CWDP is it enhances your credibility. So for instance, I got my undergrad degree in, oh, I forget the name of it. Oh, technology support systems. About, I see, Stephanie, you're the only person I can see on the screen, so I see you laughing. But yeah, I see you too, Stephen. But yeah, it's been that long. I forget, but it was technology support systems. But I never worked in that field. My first job was in financial planning, and then I came into workforce development. But having a CWDP shows that I went back and got training in the field that I am actually working in. So, although my degree is in technology support systems, my certification, the way how I keep up my professional development, is in workforce development. So, it enhances my credibility. It helps advance your career. It validates your skills. So it is skills based, and there is an exam and assessment attached to it. So once you pass that exam and assessment, it really validates that you have those skills. So not that you just, heard about those skills or you saw somebody else doing, but you have those skills and you've shown those skills with assessment. A lot of times it gives you professional confidence. That's a benefit of having a credential, is that you've actually been trained in the field that you're working in. You're not still just trying to figure it out, right? That's how I did, I think, the first couple of years of my career. I was just trying to figure it out step to step. but you have that professional confidence of being professionally trained in the industry that you're working in, and it also helps build your customer trust for the people that you're working with. So those are some of the benefits of earning the CWDP. Like I said, the 5 competencies of the CWDP applies to everybody in the field, regardless of what level, what organization, what part of the country, what program or service you work with. If you're in workforce development, customer service methodology is a must. You have to know about diversity and workforce development. You have to know how to use labor market information and intelligence. Have to understand the principles of communication, and then also in our wonderful workforce development ecosystem to really know those structures, policies, and programs. So those are the 5 competencies of the CWDP. Again, this information is found on our website, and you can definitely reach out to me if you have additional questions. But the criteria to earn the CWDP is there is an education and work experience requirement, basically a minimum of a high school diploma, and then you must have at least 12 months of experience within the last 24 months in workforce development. You must show knowledge in the 5 core competencies. So you can either do a training through one of our 4 training providers, or we have or Dynamic Works has developed a 100 question exam that covers the 5 competencies. So you can go through the training or you can take the 100 question assessment. You have to maintain professional affiliation with NAWDP, which means you have to be a NAWDP member. And then you have to adhere to a professional code of ethics. So those are the 4 requirements of the CWDP. Again, more information is on our website, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any additional questions. But I also want to just leave you with a couple of other resources for learning. As you're thinking about being intentional for 2025 and setting your learning goals, workforcegps.org has a lot of learning resources and opportunities. NAWDP is actually a part of a grant called Next Level Now. So if you go to Workforce GPS and go under communities and look for Next Level Now, or you could probably just Google Next Level Now on Workforce GPS, all of the work that we've done, that NAWDP has done with this grant, is on that community page. So we've done just a lot of different trainings, a lot of different webinars. We have cohorts, and all of that is under Next Level Now. And we've had a 3-year grant, so everything that we've done in that 3 years is located there. I've talked a little bit about our YouTube channel, and then also I would encourage you to check out LinkedIn Learning. Okay. So I'm about 3 minutes over, and I absolutely value your time. So I do want to end our time here together today, but I do want to open it up for any questions that anybody may that anybody may have. You can definitely take yourself off of mute. I'm also putting my information into the chat box. And we
I
also
do
encourage you to stay connected with us on LinkedIn.
I do have a question. My name is Rita Broussard here in the Gulf Coast, Texas area. And I was on that Leadership Academy. Is there a fee for that, or you just apply and then or how that works?
Yes, so the Leadership Academy, there is a fee for that. Again, the Leadership Academy is through the University of Georgia, so you do get credit through the University of Georgia, and so the Leadership Academy is $2,500. It's for a 1-year cohort. It includes 2 in-person sessions. So I think the first in-person session is 10 hours, the second in-person session is 10 hours, and this is over 2 days. And then you get 5 virtual sessions that are 3 hours each. But you do receive, that is a tuition that's paid directly to the University of Georgia. Thank you for your question. Henry, you had a
Thank
question?
you.
Yes, it's a follow-up question to the one that was just asked. So, if I remember hearing earlier, if I heard correctly, so the Leadership Academy for this year is closed, but you still have the opportunity to apply. So, when would a new cohort start?
Yeah, so our cohort is starting each year at our annual conference. So the in-person session will start at our annual conference. So our next session will start in our annual conference in 2026. Again, we open registration in October, and you will be notified at the beginning of December. Then we do like a virtual orientation, and then the actual in-person starts at our annual conference each year.
Okay, is there any consideration for expanding the number of individuals that can be, considering that it's two in-person sessions and the rest is virtual? I would think that, you know, there is the possibility of accommodating more individuals.
Yeah, we have thought about that and I think it has to see, Henry, with the number of applications that we receive. So if we receive, you know, an application that would allow us to do two cohorts, the University of Georgia is open to that. But it really goes back also to how many we are receiving. So if we see in October that we're receiving enough to do two cohorts, that's definitely something that NAWDP will look at.
Okay, I know I lowered my hand, but I just want to double check. So as far as the 2025 cohort that will start at the annual conference, that is closed. So this would be
That's correct.
and this would be for next year. Okay, thank you.
Right, that's correct. Thank you for your question, Jan.
Yes, Ken, just quick question. Where's the Business Services Academy going to be held? Do you have a place yet or not, or no?
Yes, the Business Services Academy will be in Denver, Colorado this year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we will have the exact dates. I think it's that second week in August. And I don't think it's up on our website right now, but it will have we'll have those dates up like within the next few weeks if it's not up now. But it's in Denver. Thank you for that question, Jan.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ebony. So, it's the last week. Okay, so Ebony has this August 25th through the 27th. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you for sharing. Henry, another question?
Yes, follow up on the Business Service Academy. So,
Sure.
is there a limit on the number of individuals that can register for that?
It's not a limit. I mean, the only limit we have is we have a sellout number just based on the capacity of the hotel.
Yeah.
But there's not a limit.
Okay.
Probably maybe 500 is the capacity of the hotel, somewhere around there.
Do you know if registration is open for that yet?
No, registration for that is actually going to open. It'll open sometime around early June. So it'll be after our conference is over. But if you just stay connected with us, you'll see the exact dates that it opens, but it'll probably be around early June once our annual conference is over.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, and so Steve has a question. Will most of the training events be recorded to be able to obtain training notes if we cannot attend? So Steve, are you referring to like NAWDP's digital trainings?
Either or.
Okay, so I will say for not for our Business Services Academy, but for our annual conference and our youth symposium, there is a virtual option. So if you can't attend the event, there is a virtual option where you can attend virtually. Anything that we do for NAWDP, any of our 30 minutes of excellence sessions or anything such as the webinar we're on now, all of those are archived on our NAWDP YouTube channel. So you will be able to see those. And any of our paid trainings, if you come to a paid digital learning through NAWDP, you will receive, like for instance, the summer learning series that I was talking about. If you pay and you attend the live session, you will also receive the recording that you can review for 30 days after the recording.
Okay. Are they? Because like I'm receiving the recording from what you have now, but I can't I'm not able to download to to print it and all that, so I can share it with the facility that I'm at, and just trying to figure out how to download the information so I can share it with my teammates.
I don't know if you can you download it from our NAWDP YouTube channel?
I'm asking, but I'm also trying to figure out how to.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure about that, but Steve, if you have my email address, so if you can email me, I can connect you with our person who's our director of marketing and communications, and she'll be able to help us with that answer.
Okay.
So if you can just send me a quick email once we're off the call here.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Yes. I'm interested in the conference that's going to be in Virginia in May, but I noticed
Okay.
it's virtual. How would that work in virtual? I'm just kind of curious.
Um, so the conference is in person, but you could do a virtual option. And so basically with all of our presenters, we ask them to record their presentation before they present live at the conference. So you can go and for everybody who attends the conference live, if you go to, one of the sessions, but there was another session that you wanted, you can always go and look at the virtual recorded sessions as well. But everybody who presents at the conference also records virtually. And then all of our superset, what we call general sessions or plenary sessions, those are all recorded live. And so you're able to log on to your laptop and be there live at the conference and then look at the other workshops virtually.
And is the registration the same price as actually attending in person?
I am not sure. So we can check on that, Ramona. If you don't mind, email. I think it is, but I'm not sure.
I don't want to assume it looks like that on the site, but I just wanted some clarification if it's
Okay,
possible.
yeah,
Thank you.
I think it may be the same. Because yeah, you're getting everything but I if you can email me after because I don't want to tell you any wrong information.
Thank you. I'll send you an email. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right, perfect.
If you attend the conference, you still have access to the recordings, maybe of other workshops that you weren't able to attend because they were held at the same time as something else you attended?
Yes, so you have access to all of the workshops that are at the conference for 60 days after the conference concludes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Diana says, what's the percentage of those who attend conference live versus virtually? I think I would say so in 1800, maybe a little less than 10%, Diana, attend virtually versus the live. I think with each year it gets a little less and less. I think, post COVID it was, it's probably closer to like 30% and then it would get less and less. But I think with our last conference, it was about probably between 5 to 10% that were virtual. And that's a lot of training because we have about 60, between 60 and 70 workshops, and you have free access, or not free, but you have full access to all of those workshops. And you can do it at your convenience. So, that virtual option works for people who may have travel constraints or budget restrictions. Right. It doesn't look like it's any more questions. So thank you all for joining me today. And again, if you have any other questions, if something comes up that maybe I wasn't able to answer clearly on the call, feel free to reach out to me specifically. And again, I will put my email address in the chat box again. Oh, let me make sure I'm putting it to everyone because Steve, I think that one went just to you. And other than that, thank you for joining me today. And I do look forward to seeing you at our NAWDP events, our virtual events, our digital learning, and all other things NAWDP. So remember to get connected and stay connected, and I'll see you all very soon.